Let me give you an honest picture of what it's really like to live in Ramat Beit Shemesh as an Anglo immigrant, a city that has become one of Israel's most concentrated Anglo-Orthodox communities, but also one of its most complex and controversial. Ramat Beit Shemesh is fundamentally a tale of two cities, or more accurately, several distinct communities existing in geographic proximity, but often with minimal interaction and sometimes significant tension. This is Israel's rapidly growing Orthodox Anglo hub, but understanding which part of RBS we're discussing is absolutely critical. Beit Shemesh is an ancient city located in the Judean lowlands about 30 kilometers west of Jerusalem, with around 130,000 residents. But when Anglos talk about Ramat Beit Shemesh, they're usually referring to specific neighborhoods. RBS Aleph, the original Ramat Beit Shemesh built in the 1990s, has mixed modern Orthodox and Haredi population with significant Anglo presence of 20 to 30%, but is experiencing demographic shifts toward increasingly Haredi character. RBS Bet, built in the 2000s, is predominantly Haredi or ultra-Orthodox, with large Anglo-Haredi population of 25 to 35%, but with intense religious stringency and often conflict between different Haredi factions. This is where most negative media coverage focuses. RBS Gimmel, newer neighborhood built in the 2010s, was intentionally planned for modern Orthodox and religious Zionist population, with Anglo percentage reaching 40 to 50% in some areas. This is the Anglo Dadi or religious Zionist neighborhood. When evaluating RBS for Aliyah, you must understand these distinctions because RBS Gimmel and RBS Aleph appeal to very different populations than RBS Bet, and conflating them creates massive confusion. Ramat Beit Shemesh has one of Israel's largest Anglo-Orthodox concentrations, estimated 15,000 to 20,000 English-speaking residents out of 70,000 to 80,000 in the Ramat neighborhoods, which is 20 to 25% overall, higher in specific areas. RBS Gimmel Anglos are primarily modern Orthodox or religious Zionist families, mostly North American, with college-educated professionals working in Jerusalem, Tel Aviv, or locally. They seek religious community without ultra-Orthodox stringency, have families with 3 to 5 children typically, celebrate Israeli holidays with Zionist ideology, and serve in IDF. RBS Bet Anglos are predominantly Haredi or ultra-Orthodox, with emphasis on Torah learning over secular education, men often in Kollel for full-time study, families with 6 to 12 children common, and more insular community with less integration into broader Israeli society. Here's RBS's primary appeal. It's significantly cheaper than Jerusalem, Tel Aviv, Modi'in, or Herzliya, while maintaining Orthodox infrastructure and large Anglo community. In RBS Gimmel, the modern Orthodox area, a 4-bedroom apartment costs 2.8 to 4 million shekels. That's $800,000 to $1.15 million. In RBS Aleph, a 4-bedroom runs 2.2 to 3.5 million shekels. This is 30 to 40% less expensive than Modi'in, 40 to 50% less than Jerusalem's Baka, and similar to or slightly less than Netanya. This is RBS's defining selling point: Orthodox infrastructure at affordable prices. Most professionals in RBS work in Jerusalem, and the commute is manageable. By car, it's 25 to 35 minutes in normal traffic, 40 to 60 minutes in rush hour. By bus, there's frequent service taking 35 to 50 minutes. Total door-to-door is typically 45 to 75 minutes, which is significantly better than Modi'in's Jerusalem commute, and far better than Modi'in's Tel Aviv commute. For Jerusalem workers, RBS offers good value. The commute to Tel Aviv, however, is brutal at 50 to 70 minutes by car or 75 to 90 minutes by train. So RBS makes sense primarily for families working in Jerusalem. Schools are both RBS's strength, with abundant religious options, and complexity, navigating the religious spectrum. RBS Gimmel modern Orthodox schools include Orat Etzion Girls' School with strong academics and 30 to 40% Anglo population, and Orat Yehuda Boys School with 25 to 35% Anglo. These schools provide solid religious and secular education, prepare students for Bagrut matriculation exams, and position graduates for university and IDF service. The schools are good, but not elite. They don't have the prestige of Jerusalem's top schools or Tel Aviv's secular elite schools. They're comparable to good religious schools in the U.S. RBS Beith has multiple Haredi schools with emphasis on Torah study and minimal secular studies. Many families send kids to Jerusalem for high school, which is a 30 to 45-minute bus ride and is common and manageable. For families with school-age children, especially Anglos, RBS presents difficulties. There's no Anglo peer support in schools like Modian's 30 to 40%, no international school options like Herzliya, and limited Hebrew support for new immigrants. This works for families committed to full Israeli integration, where kids will be fully immersed, families with very young children who can delay school decisions, or retirees and empty nesters without school-age children, which is the majority of Anglos. It doesn't work well for families seeking Anglo peer support for kids or those wanting prestigious schools. RBS Gimmel is modern Orthodox or religious Zionist dominant with Shabbat observance, kosher homes, women covering hair, but also college education valued, internet in homes, and secular culture engagement. It's Zionist with celebration of Israeli holidays and men and women serving in IDF. The synagogues range from yeshivish to open modern Orthodox, with Anglo minyanim and English-speaking rabbis. It's a comfortable religious environment without extremism. RBS Beith is strictly Haredi or ultra-Orthodox with minimal secular education or culture, gender separation in public spaces, modest dress expectations enforced socially, Torah learning prioritized over work, and less engagement with broader Israeli society. I need to be honest about RBS's most challenging aspect. The city has experienced significant internal conflict, particularly in the past 10 to 15 years. RBS was initially planned as a modern Orthodox community, but affordable housing attracted Haredi families, creating a demographic shift toward Haredi majority, and tensions emerged over public space use, modesty standards, and municipal resources. Specific conflicts included attempts to create gender-separated buses, harassment of women deemed immodestly dressed, girls' schools attacked by extremists, and disputes over municipal resources. The current situation has improved significantly from the worst period of 2010 to 2015, but tensions remain. RBS Gimmel's creation helped by providing geographic separation. Most residents, including Haredi residents, disapprove of extremism, but the city has a reputation problem. For families in RBS Gimmel, the conflicts mostly don't affect daily life because it's a separate, insulated area. For those in RBS Aleph or Beith, it depends on specific location. Many families live peacefully without encountering problems, but potential buyers should research specific streets and understand the landscape. This is where RBS truly shines. The lifestyle is centered around religious community. Mornings see parents rushing kids to school and fathers heading to Jerusalem for work. Afternoons have children at playgrounds and kids at activities. Evenings are families at home with community learning programs and early to bed. Shabbat is beautiful in RBS Gimmel. The entire neighborhood shuts down. Everyone walks to synagogue dressed in Shabbat clothes, streets filled with families, massive hospitality culture with constant Shabbat meal invitations, and peaceful atmosphere. Social life is very communal. People know their neighbors. There's constant Shabbat hospitality, Torah classes for men and women, kids play freely in safe streets, and parent social groups organized by school. The Anglo community infrastructure includes Nefesh B'Nefesh programming, Torah Mitzion Kollel with English-speaking rabbis, various community organizations, and school-based communities as primary social structure. There's massive Shabbat hospitality where newcomers are immediately invited for meals, GMACs, or free loan societies for everything imaginable, babysitting co-ops, carpool networks, and WhatsApp groups for every conceivable purpose. RBS Anglos are warm, welcoming, and communal with strong mutual support. But it's also insular, with many families socializing primarily with other Anglos and functioning largely in English, without integrating deeply into broader Israeli society. For men, many work in Jerusalem in high-tech, education, rabbinical positions, or nonprofits. Some work in Tel Aviv with long commute, some are in local businesses, and a significant number learn in Kollel for full-time Torah study while wives work. For women, many work remotely in editing, graphic design, or tutoring, teach in local schools, work in healthcare if licensed, run online businesses, or stay home with large families. Many RBS families live on modest incomes with one salary supporting large family or two part-time incomes. The affordable housing allows families with 4 to 6+ children to own apartments on middle-class incomes. A monthly budget for a family of 6, which is typical size, runs 22,000 to 36,500 shekels. That's $6,300 to $10,400, which is lower than Modi'in or Jerusalem primarily due to housing savings. Required income for basic comfortable living for family of 6 is 28,000 to 35,000 shekels monthly gross, with more comfortable lifestyle requiring 40,000 to 55,000 shekels monthly. RBS is one of few places where having 5 to 7+ children feels normal rather than extreme. The infrastructure supports large families with apartments sized appropriately, hand-me-down networks, carpooling systems, community understanding of large family challenges, and schools accustomed to large family dynamics. For kids, RBS offers very safe environment where children play freely in streets, strong peer community with many kids same age, excellent Orthodox childhood where everyone lives same lifestyle, Shabbat and holidays celebrated communally, but less exposure to secular culture. RBS works ideally for modern Orthodox families seeking affordable religious community in RBS Gimmel specifically, those prioritizing religious environment over career advancement, families comfortable with 4 to 6+ children or open to large families, Jerusalem workers wanting shorter commute than Modi'in, those valuing community over sophistication, families on modest budgets who couldn't afford Modi'in or Jerusalem, people seeking warm, supportive Anglo-Orthodox community, and those comfortable with less integration into secular Israeli society. Ramat Beit Shemesh is Israel's affordable Orthodox Anglo option, a place where religious families can buy homes, raise large families, maintain intensive, Jewish life, and benefit from warm community support without the crushing housing costs of Jerusalem, Modi'in, or other alternatives. For modern Orthodox families considering RBS Gimmel specifically, you're getting a warm, supportive, religious Anglo community at reasonable prices with good Jerusalem access. The neighborhood is new enough to avoid the city's historical tensions. Schools are solid if not elite. The lifestyle is family-focused, communal, and authentically Orthodox. The trade-offs are significant. You get affordability, religious community, Anglo support, and large family infrastructure, but you give up sophistication, career advancement, secular culture access, the city's reputation, and integration into broader Israeli society. The critical question is whether you're prioritizing religious community and affordability over other considerations, because that's RBS's value proposition.